Hey, what's up, you guys, and welcome back to the Creepy and Paranormal Show. Today, we are going to be taking a look at the events that happened in the film The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It, which was loosely based, well, not loosely, but it was based on the Ed and Lorraine files that they have kept throughout the years. So, this one was really scary, really creepy, and if you have not watched the movie, I advise that you definitely do so either before continuing with the show or possibly even after listening to this. Word of advice: watch it at night time. It will scare the hell out of you. Guys, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Look behind you. Right, let's kick it off from straight in the beginning. In 1980, a Connecticut family, the Glatzels, went to clean up a rental unit that they had just actually purchased. There, the 11-year-old David Glatzel saw the spirit of an angry old man, and the spirit physically pushed him. Now that would creep me the hell out. But when David's parents became angry with him, saying that he had made up the old man to get out of his chores, David informed his family that the spirit told him if the Glatzel family ever moved into the property, the spirit vowed to hurt them. Now, if your child starts telling you stories like this, you generally pass it off as bullshit. But we soon find out that this was not the case. So, as any normal family, they went ahead and moved into the rental property anyway. Now, David Glatzel continued seeing the old man, and sometimes he even saw him as a demonic beast who spoke Latin. The Glatzel family soon observed David acting strangely, and the 11-year-old would begin to have seizures, experience bizarre injuries, start to growl and hiss at them, and talk about passages from the Bible and John Milton's book called Paradise Lost. Now, the family matriarch Judy Glatzel described her son's tormentor as a man with a big black eye, a thin face with animal features, and jagged teeth, pointed ears, horns, and hoofs. Now, just put that little picture in your mind. It is fucking scary. The family then called the Catholic Church and asked for an exorcism to be performed on the boy. The Catholic Church declined to intervene, and the Glatzels family's next call was to a couple of real life paranormal investigators named Ed and Lorraine Warren, who also lived in Connecticut, so this was pretty convenient for them. Okay, so let's move on to Ed and Lorraine Warren, and they basically say that they observed David Glatzel levitating, beaten by unseen hands, and that he began to be able to tell the future. Ed Warren said that not only was the boy demonically possessed, a total of 43 demonic spirits were attached to him. The Warrens agreed with the Glatzel family that an exorcism needed to be performed, so they found a Catholic priest who was willing to do an exorcism. Now, there is some debate about how this was done, since most news sources don't seem to understand the process. The Warrens would not have done an exorcism if the Catholic Church didn't allow it, but we know that the Glatzel family reached out on their own before even contacting the Warrens and were denied. In the end, 3 exorcisms were performed. Now, if you know anything about exorcisms, it needs to go through the church. It needs to take it up to their hierarchy, to not to the Pope, but it needs to build its way up the church hierarchy for it to be approved. Not any priest can just go and perform an exorcism, and that is why they were explicitly so adamant about the family trying to reach out first to the church to perform the exorcism before they stepped in and intervened. Now, at one point, one of the Glatzel children, Debbie, felt so unsafe that she asked her 19-year-old boyfriend, Arna Johnson, to move into the family home. Johnson was present at one of the exorcisms, and in an attempt to protect the little boy, Johnson encouraged the demons to rather enter his body instead. This guy's rather brave. I definitely think he's trying to impress Debbie Glatzel in this case. Anyways, the Warrens said that they had warned Arnie not to taunt the demon. The self proclaimed demonologist Ed Warren said, "It's just one of those things you never do. Not if you know anything about the sort of thing." Now, Debbie Glatzel and Arne Johnson moved out of the Glatzel home to protect themselves, but it was too late. Johnson began to experience many of the same symptoms as David did. And as Debbie later testified, Cheyenne, or not Cheyenne, but Arnie, would go into a trance. He would growl and say he saw the beast. Later, he would have no memory of it. It was just like David. And 4 months before the murder took place, Lorraine Warren called the police and told them there was a danger in the Glatzel family, which, of course, they just ignored. Okay, so we are going to shift our focus a little to the actual murder. Now, Debbie Glatzel worked grooming dogs at a boarding kennel for dogs. The kennel was managed by the owner's brother, a 40-year-old man named Alan Bono, who was an Australian and who was new to the area of Connecticut. And on February 16th, 1981, Debbie's boyfriend, Arne Johnson, called in sick to work and tagged along with Debbie to her job instead. Debbie's sisters, Wanda, who was 15 at the time, and Janice, who was 13, also came to the kennel that day along with their cousin Mary, who was only 9 years old. Alan bought all of them lunch and they started drinking heavily. Debbie got concerned and started to leave with her family when Alan held onto her 9-year-old cousin Mary. Today's sponsor is called Invoice Cloud. Now, this is really awesome if you're an entrepreneur, small business owner, or even a freelancer. You know how difficult it is to manage and then create those invoices for your customers. But with Invoice Cloud, you have everything you need to create simple, professional estimates on the fly. It's easy to use and understand, and getting rid of all the nonsense so you can have more time to do what matters most, which is to grow your business. Invoice Cloud allows you to add your company details, logo, customer information, as well as products, making it a breeze to send estimates to your clients anytime, anywhere. Now, if you want to start your free 7-day trial and get invoicing in just under 5 minutes, all you need to do is head over. Now, if there's one thing that I love more than doing creepy and paranormal videos, it is eating pizza. But not just any pizza. Pizza from Little Naples Pizzeria. Their menu offers a great selection of pizza, calzone, tramezzini, as well as pastas, and they also offer burgers, chips, and buffalo wings, which is something really great to add on the side of your pizza. They prepare their food using only the highest and quality fresh ingredients, so you can be sure that you will taste freshness with every bite. Now, Little Naples Pizzeria is based here in Impala Park, just down the way. I think it's number 24 Freeland Road. And I'll tell you something, guys, they have the biggest selection of pizzas. I think that's probably my biggest nightmare, is having to look at the menu and make a decision on only one pizza. Luckily for us, there are 7 days in a week, which means you could try 7 pizzas. In an ideal world, yes. Guys, come on. You got to hit up Little Naples Pizzeria to order and taste the best pizza in town. They now have 2 branches and are looking to expand, so if you want to own your own store, please feel free to contact them as well. That's Little Naples Pizzeria. It was at this point that Arne Johnson started growling. Out of nowhere, he stabbed Bono 5 times, killing him, and afterwards, Johnson simply walked off into the woods in a catatonic state. Johnson says he has no memory of the murder. Now, while telling the Washington Post the story of her son's demonic possession and the subsequent murder of her daughter's boss by the girl's fiancé, Judy Glatzel said, "This world is being controlled by the devil. Look at the drugs, the prostitution, the gambling, and the violence. The devil is in charge of it all." Keep in mind that this was in the 80s in America, the height of the satanic panic. We definitely need to do an episode on the satanic panic, along with the likes of, what was that crazy guy's name? Oh, man. The one that had the cult in the woods and he went and killed people. Geez, I can't remember this guy's name. But anyways, Manson, the Manson murders. That's right. Yeah, so we need to definitely do an episode on the Satanic Panic, but that is for another day. The Warrens also claimed that Arne Johnson was possessed by the devil, and after he taunted demons at David Glatzel's exorcism, eventually this became his defense for murder. This is the first case in US history where demonic possession was used as a defense tactic. Now, historically, it's known as the devil made me do it case. The judge was not having it, however, and the defense strategy was not allowed due to lack of evidence. Fast forward in the case until November 24, 1981, Arne Johnson was convicted of first degree manslaughter for killing Alan Bono. He served 5 years in prison and was released. While in prison, he was recognized as a model prisoner and earned his high school diploma. Ed and Lorraine Warren say he is no longer demon possessed. And after serving his 5 years, Arne Johnson was released from prison in 1986. He and Debbie Glatzel later then on married. The case was featured in an episode of A Haunting called Where Demons Dwell. In 2007, David Glatzel and Carl Glatzel Jr. sued the Warrens for continuing to profit from their story. Carl says his brother David Glatzel was mentally ill at the time. The Warrens say he was demonically possessed. Furthermore, he accused the Warrens of inventing the demonic possession story for money and fame. He claims the Warrens told his parents that they could be millionaires and describes his childhood as a living hell. Well, if his brother was possessed by demons, then of course, theoretically, it was a living hell, was it not? Arne Johnson and Debbie Glatzel say Cole Glatzel Jr.'s claims are false, the Warrens' claims are in fact true, and that David and Cole are just trying to make money. Most recently, this case became the foundation for Ed and Lorraine Warren's characters in the Conjuring 3 movie titled The Devil Made Me Do It, which was then released on June 4, 2021. And like I say, I watched that movie and it was fucking scary, but it was absolutely brilliant and really portrays demonic possession and how it takes over a person's soul, spirit, and body and mind. And while we are on Ed and Lorraine, I just wanted to go through a couple of their cases for you. Just very briefly, you can always go and search on the internet and find out some more information from them. But one of them was the Amityville Horror, and this was probably the most famous case investigated by the Warrens. The case was such known as the Amityville Horror and went on to launch its own multi-million-dollar franchise before appearing in the second Conjuring movie. Now, George and Kathy Lutz claimed that they were driven out of their Long Island home in 1975 by a violent paranormal entity. A year before the Lutz family moved into the home, it was reported that Ronald Defoe Jr. shot and killed 6 family members in the house. The Warrens investigated the home and claimed that it was haunted. However, further investigations have revealed the reported happenings in the home were mostly a hoax, but not all of them. Another one, which of probably equal importance, was Annabelle. Now, Annabelle was a Raggedy Ann doll that was claimed to be haunted by the spirit of a young girl named Annabelle Higgins. The doll was said to have moved on its own, but once it was claimed by the Warrens in 1970, it was placed in a glass enclosure in the Occult Museum in Monroe. The character of Annabelle has since become a staple in the Conjuring franchise, with 3 movies dedicated to the history of the doll. And last year, well, not last year, geez, I can't believe we're in 2022 already. In 2020, a rumor started that the doll had escaped its enclosure at the museum. However, those rumors were disproven, as the doll still remains in the museum in Monroe. And thank fuck for that, because we can't have any of these haunted dolls running around and being put in the wrong hands. We've seen the Chucky movies called Child's Play. We know what the hell happens. So there you have it, guys. That is the case from The Devil Made Me Do It. The court case was rather long, and there was so much information that I had to leave out just for the purposes of not boring you. But it was rather interesting for myself to watch it and to read more up on it. And if you're interested, you definitely need to go and have a look at that, because there was, like the defense said, that, or not the defense, the prosecutor saying there was not enough evidence for it to be claimed that they were possessed. But I do find it rather interesting that it was the first case in US history where they actually claimed demonic possession as a defense argument. Even though it wasn't successful, he only served 5 years imprisonment for murder. So I'm not too sure what your views are on that. Do you think he was completely a con man and just really got pissed off and killed Mr. Bono? Or do you think he really was possessed by the demon, and when he went to prison, he reformed and obviously maybe ridded himself of the demonic possession? Anyways, guys, you know the story. Like, subscribe, share with your friends and family. Let's continue to grow the show. And once again, do not forget to look under your bed tonight.